Hi everyone, it's Dominik, German AI creator, and in today's video I want to share 3 life lessons with you that I learned across the last 1.5 years and that helped me transform my life, break out of the life I had before, and just massively improved everything I do ever since. So if you are looking for ways to maybe break out of your life, to transform the way you show up and you work, this is something you definitely want to look into. And the best part, it doesn't cost you any money and you can do it right away. So let's get started. As you see, this video is not really scripted. I have some notes here on my phone. So yeah, let's see where it goes. The first one is create circumstances that allow focus. And this is a big one, and I think the thing that changed my life the most. In the past, I thought focus is something like when I'm done with everything else and I have maybe 2 or 3 hours, this is where I work a little bit on new things. But since I created myself life circumstances that allow me to sit in a room like that, an Airbnb, for 24 hours or an entire week without interruption, without a single appointment in my calendar, I understand what truly deep focus actually means. It's a whole different world, it's a whole different story. And I want to also give you some examples that you understand what I actually mean with that. I just realized that when I look back how I operated in business, let's say 2-3 years ago, that I actually never was truly focused, because there's always an interruption every 2 hours max, or maybe sometimes 3 hours. And there are these people who want something, there are clients who want something, there's private life, and this is all good. I don't judge it, but you just have to be aware that it sometimes takes a couple of days. Maybe you are an exception, but if you are like me, you will realize that it actually takes a couple of days until you start to develop a true deep focus. And then you also realize that you're doomed if you don't have these circumstances. Because now that I'm in a deep focused environment where I have no interruption, I can work on my projects 24/7, I realize how difficult it is to operate if you don't have these circumstances. And I know that not everyone can do that right away. But what you can take out here as a message is that you have to rethink what real deep focus actually means. And of course, there are people who are smarter, more intelligent. Maybe they get into this zone faster. But if you're like me, you need a lot of time to even get into a focused state. And what I would recommend there is the following. If you have a quite busy life and you have a lot of responsibilities, just try to tie all these responsibilities together so that they are in one block, and try to make up as much free, uninterrupted time as possible where you can work focusedly on your projects. Because I think that it is more powerful to work one entire day without interruption on a certain project than 3 weeks every day, just 1 hour. I can guarantee you that, and I highly recommend it to you. And this makes it also possible if you have a lot of responsibility. Then we are at point number 2. Don't put a time label on things. And this is a big one, and also something that I had to learn. In the past, I always put a time label on my goals. For example, at the end of the year, I want to make X amount of money. And this just hopelessly failed, because it is something that I can't control. And also our ability as humans to make predictions is just super bad. We have to admit that. And because of that, I just got completely rid of time labels. All I do now is the following. I set a certain goal. For example, I want to launch a new video course about a certain topic as fast as possible. So this is the new goal, but there's no time label on it. Rather, the goal setting is that I just commit to do whatever is possible, whatever is in my power to achieve the most amount of work in 24 hours every single day. And now comes the funny part. If you operate like that, it doesn't matter what the time label would be, because you just achieve it as fast as possible. And sometimes this is even way faster than you expected, and sometimes it's just way longer. But you're not disappointed because you miss a timeline. And this is why I just got rid of all time labels. And another reason why I think this point is so important is because once you start operating self-employed, working on your own business, you have to get rid of your old corporate life measure stick. What do I mean with that? If you worked in a corporate environment for a long time, you have that measure stick in your head that a work day is let's say 8 hours, there's a lunch break, and then you have 5 days of work and you have a weekend. And this is just something that, at least for me, doesn't work at all, and I just threw it out of the window. Because once you're self-employed and you work on your own business, just get rid of that. It doesn't matter if there's weekend or if it is 7 a.m. or if it is 1 at night, it doesn't matter. Okay, because if you are self-employed and you have your own business, the goal should be that you just enjoy that you just enjoy working on your projects. And because of that, you don't even need to know how long you worked on something. You just open your eyes in the morning, you start working until you feel hungry, you eat something, you keep working, and basically you do that every day. I am heavily inspired here by Alex Hormozi. I just love the guy. Maybe you also find some inspiration from him. Just check him out. I can definitely say that the guy changed my life. And here we are already at point number 3. Communicate clearly and specifically. What do I mean with that? I want to give you an example. I already launched several courses about different AI topics, also AI influencer creation. And as I have many students there, I basically get several questions every day. And when I compare the quality of these questions, we see exactly what I mean with that first point. There are students who send me such a text and they describe exactly what they did, where they are in the course right now, and where they struggle. And then sometimes I get questions like, how can I create a good body? And don't get me wrong, it's totally fine. You can ask whatever you want, but I want to show you now why it is so important to communicate clearly and specifically. Because in the case of that big question, I, as a tutor, can just answer that question right away, send back the right answer, the student keeps going, we are all happy. But in the case of the other question, as it is so unspecific, it basically just throws me a huge work package over the fence, and I have to come up with follow-up questions to even understand in the first place where the student is actually struggling and what the student actually means with a good body. Is it just that the student doesn't like the body, or is the body deformed, or is it the image quality? I think you get the point. And the same applies not only for work settings but also for private life. And because of that, it's so important to communicate clearly and specifically, because it's not only that you put a lot of work on your communication partner if you don't communicate clearly, it's also less likely that you get the answer you want. So this is the first one, and it's very important, and you can actually solve it right away by just thinking more than 3 seconds about your questions. All right, so that's it for today's video. It had nothing to do with AI, but I really hope that this will help some of you also transform your life and achieve your goals and just better your situation. Let me know in the comments what you think about it, and I hope we see each other in the next video. Take care and goodbye.